What it do, Kaizoku crew? It's your boy, Kaizoku Ice. First off, happy Thanksgiving to everyone that celebrates, and even if you don't, just know that me, your captain, Kaizoku Ice, I love and I'm very thankful for everyone. So, shout out the crew. Number 2, I am extremely tired right now. It is 2:51 a.m. in the morning, the day after Thanksgiving. I'm still very full, extremely stuffed right now. Pause, but it doesn't matter because I'm up right now to talk about this right here. $100,000 sale on the red manga Luffy. Like, what am I even looking at right now? Let me take off my glasses. No, the number didn't change. My eyes do not deceive me. $100,000 sale. What is going on? I could not believe it when I first saw this, and I was like, this is crazy, right? Like, I was speechless. But you know, my first thought was, is this sale even real, right? And luckily for me, I actually know the person that was selling this card. And I'm keeping him anonymous, but I do have some DMs between myself and him, and it does seem like this sale was fake. So I'm gonna talk about it, but this video is mainly to just make sure that the Kaizoku crew is, up to date on everything happening in the TCG, and to make sure that they are educated on, what is a real purchase versus what's not a real purchase. So the first thing that you guys should look at is you should click here on the number of bids. You can actually see the bid history for this card. And one of the things that I always look at is I want to see who I'm bidding against. One of the good indicators for that is looking at the feedback score here. It's the number in parentheses. And this basically kind of, if the number is lower, whether it's 0 or negative, you kind of expect that bidder to basically be a fake bid. It's probably not going to go through. And the higher that the feedback score is, doesn't necessarily mean that it's a real bid or not. But it's basically kind of a good indicator on, if this bidder, this person right here, is a legit person, not just like a bot trying to shill bids, right? And first thing I saw was 7. I was like, okay, that's probably a fake one. But then I saw 413, right? I was like, that's a pretty decent one. That's a lot higher than mine is personally. And I was like, okay, maybe this is a real sale, right? I saw the retractions here, and this basically means like the bidder, they retracted their bid. But I did confirm with the seller, the guy that actually owned the card, that retraction came a lot earlier in the bidding process, way before today, November 27th, right? So first thing I want to say is you guys should really, if you see any crazy bids here, make sure you click here so you can kind of see like what's going on, right? But 2, right? So I'm very fortunate. Shout out to you. I'm not going to say your name because I know how you like the secrets, but he trusted me to make a video on this. He gave me, all the information. He allowed me to share our DMs together. So let us get started. First off, just to show y'all, like, this is him. We messaged last Friday, last week. This is him showing his listing, and he was like, yeah, this is my listing. So we know that it's him. And if you guys don't believe me there, basically, right when I saw the sale happen, right, this is at 10:45 p.m., he was like, yo, unfortunately, it wasn't real, or at least he doesn't think it's real. He's gonna have to wait his 7 days for this whole thing to get processed, and after this, he's probably not gonna do a whole auction anymore because he'd rather just do a buy now, so then we can't have any, fake bids, right? So we talked a little bit in between this. We're saying like, man, like, how could this happen? Like, what's going on? Because, you see a 413 bidder. You think that that's a pretty solid and reputable buyer, right? Not a bot. But we kind of theory crafted here a little bit. That is not the right picture, actually. That is, ignore that. Let me find, we had a conversation. Okay, so here, this is like his speculation. And also, I totally just realized right now as I look myself in the mirror, I'm not wearing my hat. That just shows, like, 1, I'm extremely sleepy right now. But 2, like, I'm just doing this thing live right now. So let me put on the hat so y'all know it's for real. Is this on right? There we go. Okay. Anyways, so we were kind of talking, and what he thinks happened is that he thinks that some super whale rich guy who really wanted the card put a max bid of $100,000, but then there's another guy that wanted it just as much, right? So then the guy that wanted just as much was just testing his bid to kind of see like what this card would sell for. But then he realized that it was, $100,000. Like, nah, like that's too much. So it looks like it sold for that $99,700 price point, right? But he sent me proof that this card wasn't paid. So first off, he showed me that, he got the email selling that this item sold on eBay. So that does prove that this was his card. One note here real quick, $92,000 is what he would have gotten from a sale of $100,000. So it actually, they took $7,000 from him, which is like low-key crazy. Like they're low-key making a killing, off of the fees and everything. Like $7,000, that's like low-key, like a used 2005 Camry, bro. Like they're making some money off of those fees, bro. Anyways, that's just like a side note. I just thought in my head real quick. Anyways, this is how you show. I'm like low-key delirious right now. I'm so sleepy. So it's probably be like 3 a.m. by the time I finish this video. Anyways, guys, so you can see here, off of his screenshot, off of his PSA app here, it says here, sold for $99,000, but awaiting payment from the buyer, right? And usually, these things will auto-process on eBay because that's just how it goes once you have your credit card in. But as you guys can see in the picture, the buyer has still not paid yet. So technically, the buyer could still pay for this card. It's not without the realm of possibility that the buyer could pay for this, right? And he did tell me he would let me know if the buyer ends up paying for this, and then we can have a party. We could be like, woo, like we did it, Reddit, we did it. $100,000 sale. This breaks everything. One Piece to the moon. But we are definitely on the side of, yeah, this probably is not going to be a real sale, because when you really think about it, right? Another thing that you should think about, I have the rule of thumb that if a card is raw, the PSA 10 price in particular, not BGS PSA, the PSA 10 price is probably like 2 to 2.5x, maybe a little bit higher of a premium for like a red manga Luffy because it's so rare. There's only 20 in a PSA 10 currently. But you should always just go on TCG Player and go on Facebook and then check like the eBay marketplace and see what the actual price of the card is selling for. On TCG Player right now, you can buy one near mint for $8,500. And if we look at what it's been selling for recently, one sold for $8,500. Oh, y'all can't see that, but one sold for $8,500. Another one sold for $8,000. Then if you go on eBay here, right, this one sold November 23 for $7,400. And then this one sold on November 19th for, I don't know how much, like what? Maybe, I'm assuming like $8,000, right? So this card raw is consistently selling currently today for around like that $7,000, $8,000 price point. So if you're applying the PSA 2X rule of thumb, this card max should be like $14,000 to $15,000, right? So why would this card ever sell for $100,000 when if I was the guy that spent $100,000 on this card, I would just try to buy every single red manga Luffy for that $7,000, $8,000 price point, grade it myself, express grade it, pay that like extra $300 or whatever, and then boom, get my PSA 10, $15,000. There's genuinely no point for this, right? So in general, Kaizoku crew, just use logic. Just straight up use logic and common sense. If you see something like this, sure, the buyer could potentially pay for it in 7 days once everything's settled. Maybe he tells me that the buyer did go through with it and paid him $100,000. But when you look at this, your first thought should be not, yo, we had a $100,000 sale, it's legit. Be a little bit speculative about it. Kind of think about it and do your own diligence and think, okay, if I could buy a raw one for like $8,000 right now, why would it be $100,000 in a PSA 10? Maybe if it was a black label BGS 10, $100,000 potentially. I actually think that this card is probably around the, if it absolute max, $25,000 price range. I don't think we reached that, especially in the short term. I think that if this card ends up selling for like maybe $10,000 raw, this card could end up being a $20,000 card in a PSA 10, but $100,000, no way. I absolutely do not believe it. And the fact that the seller himself reached out to me and was like, yeah, no, this thing's not happening. That makes me believe, yeah, we don't think that this thing's going through, right? So, long story short, guys, do not believe what you see just on eBay. Like, if you went on eBay yourself and saw this isn't real. I'm very fortunate. Once again, shout out to you, my secret Kaizoku crew member. He actually stayed up super late. He doesn't live here. He's very early where he was at, and we were chatting till he probably should have been asleep. He stayed up late, wanted to give me the facts, let me take these screenshots, and let me talk to him. So shout out to you, my guy. But long story short, don't believe everything that you see. Make sure that it comes from a trusted source. Hopefully you trust me to kind of give you guys that information. And yeah, guys, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like this thing's real, but we'll see in the next couple days. Anyways, guys, I am extremely sleepy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and hope you guys learned something from it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You already know the vibes, etc. But anyways, hope y'all had a good Thanksgiving. Hope y'all wake up on Friday and watch this video and have something to do on Friday when you're in a food coma. Anyways, I'm Kaizoku Ice. Hope y'all enjoyed. Stay cool, stay chill. I'll catch y'all on the next video.